What is my XRP price prediction? If you've been watching the channel for a while, you probably already know exactly what I think about XRP. But every single day I look at the comment section, there's people asking me, hey, last time you said $10, why is it this time 15? Which one is more realistic and why? In honest truth, whenever I look at the crypto market, the only thing I think of is where the price is going to be by the end of the cycle. But whenever I say that, I do realize some people don't know when the end of the cycle is going to be or how to cash out at that point. So today, 3 birds, 1 stone. When to cash out, how to cash out, how much money you'll make. Make sure you press that like button. Step 1, when to cash out. Right now, it's expected that Bitcoin's course is going to follow just like how it did back in 2013, just like how it did back in 2017, just like how it did back in 2021. Usually after the halving, which if you don't know, man, and just accept this for what it is. After the halving, it usually takes around, let's see here, 53 weeks. All right, so 1 year. Here we go. Around 70 weeks. So let's just say again, 1 year after the halving right there. 1 and a little bit like 1.5 years after the halving right there. And here, let's quickly calculate again. The first top about 1 year after the halving. The second top about 75 bars. So about 1.5 years after the halving. Where are we at right now? Halving was in April of this year. Right now we are about 30 weeks in. We've got a minimum, in my opinion, of let's just say right here, April or so of 2025, with again, if we look at the previous numbers, roughly, I'm going to say October, November of 2025 as the peak for Bitcoin. The nicest thing being, though, is that we generally speaking expect altcoins to actually do better once Bitcoin has already topped out. And if we look at the previous cycle as an example, and I don't mean necessarily the highest point ever for Bitcoin, but generally speaking, once Bitcoin goes towards crazy heights and starts cooling down, which you can see multiple periods here, but let's just say really cooling down, not the last drop, but the cooling down periods, that's usually when altcoins shine quite a lot. Just look at the chart, right? For example, if we look at Bitcoin at those levels, if we look at 8th of January, it peaked right there at 40,000, then went on to go to like what, 60 something thousand. So a 50% increase in that, how long? Let's say 100-day time span. If we take a look at the altcoin market cap between, let's just say January 7th or whatever, and the peak that came later on, it is, 560%. So hopefully you guys understand that at some point, Bitcoin is not so interesting anymore. It's all on the altcoins. So if you're asking me when to cash out, when do I really think is a good idea? I think most likely starting from March of 2025, we might want to consider selling things, or there's another strategy, which is just from the start of 2025, start cashing out a little bit every single day, like tiny amounts, just so you've gotten a good amount of cash out by the time we get towards the end of 2025. As the chance of continuing into 2026 is there, but smaller and smaller. And again, the top is most likely somewhere in the midst here, but I don't think it's going to happen before March. I don't think it's going to be behind November. Then again, there could be a little double top situation like in 2021, or it could be slightly different because this is the biggest run we've seen so far in terms of ETFs, etc. Now, I should quickly also state, if you're still looking for a place to trade crypto on, you can find the link down below to either Bluefin or WeX. There's a ton of different platforms I use. Those two are some of my main ones right now because they've not got a KYC, meaning you can, oh, I'm lagging a bit. I see. Ow. I think we're okay. I was going to say because you can use it from anywhere in the world, you might need a VPN, but generally speaking, proper. So check them out. Links are down below. It's what I use to trade. Now, to continue on with the story, if we expect the top to be somewhere between those marks, how much do we sell and what price do we sell it at? Well, for XRP, it's one of those coins which currently, if we take a look at the XRP versus Bitcoin chart, not denominated in dollars, but denominated in Bitcoin, it really hasn't done too much of a crazy journey yet, which is significantly different from a couple of other coins like Solana, which actually are already quite high relative to previous tops, or even coins like SUI, which right now are basically at record-breaking heights. You know, a couple of coins they're down. Just put it like that. XRP. So we have often stated that once Bitcoin runs, like we just saw, and goes up another 50%, altcoins go up 500, but relatively, that would basically mean then that alts are 10 times better than Bitcoin at some point. Now, if we don't really consider the US dollar price, but just relative versus Bitcoin terms, that's again where the XRP versus Bitcoin chart becomes interesting, because now you can see if we were to go back to previous prices that we had back in 2017, we're basically up 1,000%. So let's just say we are at an 11x from where we are at today, just to go back to previous prices. And that is with Bitcoin staying at the exact same price right now. Like we just stated, Bitcoin in the past went up 50% while alts went up hundreds of percent. It's all calculated in here. And in this case here, it would mean if Bitcoin goes up 100% from here to 200,000, then XRP going back to previous prices would not only do an 11x, but basically a 20x or 22x, whatever. Because relative to Bitcoin, it'd still do the same, but if Bitcoin goes up more, that's what you see in this chart. So it's relative strength. Right now, we are on an up course again, but still the real parabolic move, like I just tried to show you with the altcoin market cap, where the alts went absolutely crazy, especially versus Bitcoin that only went up 50%. Relatively, again, there's still a lot of desirable movement left, which you'll see later in the run. But there comes up a beautiful point of how high. Well, I personally think if we don't look at the highest values, right, we look at kind of like a good middle ground here. Maybe where could we place it at? If we look at a middle ground, we're skipping the 2021 season because it had a lawsuit. So we're kind of just looking at the 2017 season. Relatively, you would have been way better off buying Bitcoin almost anywhere because XRP only went down over all those years. Now, officially, that has changed a little bit. If we take a look at it logarithmically, for example, you can see, well, that the trend basically has been broken of mostly just downside, but we have yet to basically start really moving from here. And that's potentially what is happening right now, that we are, right now as it stands right here, making our first ever bounce from which it's going to start going up more. But so having said that, how high do we think it's going to go? Well, I often like to just place a very conservative number of right here. I'm going to say one of the highest points back in the start of 2018, as in my opinion, a pretty conservative number to put it at, which from here on forward, relative, Bitcoin staying the same, would be about a 300% increase. So being at a 4x from where we're at today-ish. Would mean for the XP price roughly around the $10 mark, and that is if Bitcoin tops out at $100,000, doesn't ever move up from here. And so there becomes a question of, well, how true to this sheet here do we really think we are? If Bitcoin continues up, which today, by the way, is going to make the highest Bitcoin close ever, most likely, there's a very good chance that we will be seeing a $180,000, $200,000, maybe even $300,000 Bitcoin. And if we take the optimal scenario of $300,000 per Bitcoin, that would then relatively, if XRP keeps this strength from back in 2018, it would be a 4x to get back to the relative Bitcoin price. And if Bitcoin then also does a 3x to 300,000, that would be a $30 XRP. Not too crazy if you look at it, but let's just say, you know what? We stay very, very conservative and we just put a bottom range in. So about 100% increase. That would place XRP as of this point at about $5 back to the lows of 2018 somewhere. And then again, if Bitcoin were to double from here, that will place XRP at $10, which again is one of the worst case scenarios. But if Bitcoin goes to 300,000, again, relatively, if it stays to that level, which is not really that high, but hey, what if it does? That is again doubling to get back to previous dominance, so about $5, and then a 3x, so about $15 with Bitcoin at 300K. But so it becomes a matter of how strong do you think it can be relative to where it was at previously? Sometimes I like to look back at previous market caps and think, hey, you know what? In the past, XRP was half of Bitcoin's market cap. I'm not saying it's going to be possible again, but it proves that it could be. It could be possible. But that's also the main reason I don't like to look at some of the highest numbers here and why I stay, in quite a conservative manner. Even if we use, for example, a middle ground here, not one of the highest levels, middle ground. Even that would indicate a roughly 3x for XRP from here. So let's just say $7.50 or so per XRP with, again, Bitcoin not moving an inch from where we're currently at. So at $100,000 Bitcoin, one of the fair XRP prices would be by about $7.50 or so. So yes, in my opinion, it is extremely undervalued. And a Bitcoin is going to do a 3x from here. What do we see? Maybe a $25, $22 XRP or so. That, in my opinion, is all very, very realistic. When are we getting unrealistic? If we take a look at look at this, for example. This previous top that we hit at some point ever is about let's just say about a 11x. So let's just say about a $23 in XRP. And then if Bitcoin goes to $300,000, you know what? We go crazy and we say Bitcoin goes to $1 million from here. So it's about, $25, let's say, just to get back to previous dominance. And then a 10x, because Bitcoin is a 10x. And then we're at $250 in XRP. Bit unrealistic. Theoretically speaking, possible, but you see where I'm coming from, right? I like to put the numbers way, way, way lower for like the next year or so to numbers which I really think make sense just because they're not really high up the ladder too much relative to what XRP has done previously. And that's why I keep saying, if your highest point for XRP is $4.50 or $4.81, I'm like, well, but relatively, that's actually not that crazy of a performance. Just because XRP, if it just followed the same course that Ethereum and all those other ones did, should have right now already been at about $7 or something like that. Because when XRP hit the $3 mark, Ethereum was what, $1,400, $1,900? And so doing a 3x from there to get to Ethereum's current prices, XRP could have done the same thing, going to like 750 or so. And that's why I keep stating, then from that point, Ethereum needs to go on a run. So maybe it doubles from here in a conservative way. Then XRP could have also doubled from that conservative current price or market cap, which would potentially put it at what, like the $15 mark or so, as again, all kind of like low bases. But yeah, if you disagree, let me know exactly why, because I've been thinking about all this for a long time, and I think it makes a whole lot of sense. And if it doesn't, please go to the comments section and explain to me why, because yeah, to me it really, really does. And I don't know, I can't see it any different way. So yeah, things are looking really, really good right now. Bitcoin is at one of the highest points ever. If Bitcoin sets a good point here, I'm recording this video even though I'm going to publish it only like a few hours. But if Bitcoin sets a good spot here, it might look good for the next few days. Perhaps Bitcoin takes some of the dominance back for a little bit, also back into Ethereum, and then alts go. We know the general rule of the market, right? But man, I'm so freaking bullish on it all. Just want you guys to know that. And if you enjoyed these videos or if you've got questions, two things. I don't know why I said two things at once. If you enjoyed the videos, make sure you press the like button. If you got questions, you can always let me know down below. And sometimes I look through and I'm like, you know what? I need to make a video on that, this, that, or that. So if you do that, maybe I'll make a video on it tomorrow. Who knows? And that's about it for this video. Man, I need to fix this this connection between the... You see, why is it so freaking laggy, man? I don't know. I don't know how to fix this. Yeah, sad.